What's up, everyone out there in Digiland, cyberspace, social media, maelstroms, all up in your face? This is Anon coming at you with another banger of an interview. This one with the great Matt Black, co-founder of the legendary group COLDCUT, and the equally, if not more legendary record label Ninja Tune. Working with COLDCUT and Ninja Tune, Matt has altered the rhythms and sonic spaces of the UK, the US, and the entire world since they first stepped on the scene in the 1980s. COLDCUT's first breakthrough track was a remix of the song Paid in Full by the God MC himself, Rakim Allah. COLDCUT remixed that hip-hop hit and added their unique blend of drums, bass, and acid house groove to create a fusion of hip-hop and electronic music. In many ways, COLDCUT were one of the main protagonists introducing hip-hop music to the emerging British rave scene. This is a historical link, something that I hope historians of the future truly recognize, right? Matt and his COLDCUT cohort, Jonathan Moore, founded Ninja Tune Records in 1990, birthing one of the coolest record labels I've ever encountered. And that's all you need to know. They also created spin-off labels like Solid Steel and Big Data, which put out so many great hip-hop artists like Roots Manuva, Beans from Anti-Pop Consortium, The New Flesh, Juice Salim, and many others. Most interesting in terms of this interview, though, is that Matt Black is a major fan of Robert Anton Wilson. So in this interview that you're about to watch, we talk about all that. We talk about COLDCUT's 2006 smash hit, Everything Is Under Control, featuring Mike Ladd and John Spencer from the John Spencer Blues Explosion. And lastly, we talk about, or most importantly, we talk about the influence that Robert Anton Wilson not only had on Matt and COLDCUT, but in culture in general, from the UK to the US. Matt's done a lot of really cool shit over the course of his career, and it was really cool to hear about how much fun he had organizing the psychedelic wake for Robert Anton Wilson, which they did with Mixmaster Morris, Ken Campbell, Alan Moore, and Bill Drummond, and others, 2 months after Bob died in 2007. What they created was something beautiful, a true psychedelic send-off. And lastly, I just want to say I had a lot of fun doing this interview with Matt, and I hope you have as much fun viewing it as well. Till then, I'm out. When did you first read Robert Anton Wilson?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Was but it would have been in the 80s.
Okay.
Would have been in the 80s, and Illuminatus is in my mind with that cover. That is in my mind, and I think that was the first time I encountered him.
Like the Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing introduction. Bob was a major free thinker, basically, and the more whenever I heard his sound bites or bits about him, was like, yeah, I really like this guy. This is an inspiration. This is the kind of left field free thinker, iconoclast that, maverick that ticks all the boxes of kind of what I'm looking for in culture, basically. The humor as well, and the sort of taking the piss out of the system and out of cliched thinking was, all good stuff. When Everything's Under Control, that was a key moment. So I read that book, and I'd already been developing my own ideas about how shit worked and stuff, but that was again sort of a mind bomb, because he was sort of reaching out in so many directions, but rather than, I like the way that it was not trying to force any particular worldview on, other than think for yourself and distrust authority. But I really like the title, Everything's Under Control, and I got this track which initially was called Ibiza Coke Jam. Not that it was cocaine fuel, but it sounded like it could have been.
Right.
And it was a sort of heavy hip hop thing, and I was making a track out of it and putting some rock and roll guitar samples in, and that phrase just stuck in my head, and so I sort of bolted that together. Now, what was that guy? Initially, I sampled that guy, the computer gangster god that controls you as a terrified TV slave. So I started cutting up some of his lyrics, just writing lyrics based on this computer gangster god idea. The computer gangster god that controls you as a terrified TV slave. I was like, yeah, I can relate to that.
Gangster computer god worldwide secret containment policy. Made possible solely by worldwide computer god Frankenstein controls, especially lifelong constant threshold brainwash radio. Quiet and motionless. I can slightly hear it. Repeatedly, this has saved my life on the streets.
Right.
And that was the sort of basis for Everything's Under Control. But I couldn't quite get it right, and I wanted to do a rap. So eventually we hooked up with Mike Ladd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so at that point I had the
Very
chorus,
familiar.
Everything is under control. They got your soul under control. And then we got the chorus from Mike Ladd. The verses. He wrote a couple of verses. I said, I want this to be a sort of, he knew Robert Anton Wilson as well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I said, conspiracy theory, let's just cast the net really wide and, throw it all into the fucking blender. And I sent him the Francis E. Deck stuff as well. And so Mike came up with these lyrics, which were a much more sort of, rap smarts, a rap, what should I call it? It was someone who could actually rap. As opposed to someone just like me who's just put some things together. So
Mike
took that idea and put that into a rap format that made sense. Yeah. And then we decided to ask John Spencer to join us on it. And he, it was all done by remote. We sent him the track. He recorded some guitar and vocals. He sent them back. We pasted it all together. And that became that track.
Television incision on the frontal lobe. Capitalism on my control. Big Brother ain't a TV show. It's how we roll with what they know. Reality bites me comfortably, inducing you into watching me, watching you, watching we methodically. Panoptic sheep stay sleeping, peeping. MK Ultra, vulture soakers, Kool-Aid, acid, electric pulses. A bay full of pigs in the sky of Vulcans. Marilyn Monroe swinging with the Sultans. Ain't it something? Money's bumping, but it's all in mode with no production. Murdoch, potlucks, top for consumption. My talk's co-opted for saying something.
But the where we got it down with Bob was like, I thought, well, let's give credit where credit's due for this idea. And so I reached out to Bob in America. I can't remember which of my people connected me to him, but we have a lot of friends of Ninja. And so there was an overlap there. One of my ninjas was like, yeah, I know Bob, I can hook you up.
Cool.
And so what I corresponded with him a bit and decided to try and, as I couldn't go to the States, I was like, let's do an interview by remote control.
Okay.
And so I arranged for this cat to go and film Bob. Okay. And so I thought, 23 questions would be a good frame for it. And so I sent the questions over and Bob answered them to camera. And so we got that material. Now, actually, we've never really done anything with that material, and it's sort of sitting on my drive. I'd like to do something with it. Unfortunately, at that time, Bob's health was at such a state that his enunciation wasn't that as clear as I would have liked. But it is the voice of Bob. And I asked him, please speak in soundbite. As a montage artist, I thought, well, if I can get some good sound bites down from it, that would be handy. But I haven't actually used it, but I'd like to do something with it still. And we did use it. Okay, so that will lead on to the next bit of the story. Yeah.
Huh?
So I think Bob heard the track and I think he thought it was cool, but he passed away not that long after that. I think within maybe a year or so, and probably before we got the track finished.
Okay.
But I think he heard it and he think he liked the idea. You know, he obviously knew we were and was prepared to just do it on a goodwill basis because he got the Ninja vibe. So I think he could probably tell. You know, I remember that my sort of one question I do remember, you know, which summed it all up is like, look, I get your take on conspiracy theory is mainly, you know, everything's a fucking conspiracy. Everything is connected. But if you had to name one group or one interest power base that is really fucking the world up, who would it be? And he said, yeah, the bankers.
Okay.
And I think he was absolutely right. And I think it's a very good observation. And I would say I was doing my own research by that time. I don't know if you know a documentary called The Secret of Oz.
Secret of Oz. No.
Yeah, really good. Hidden anti-banker message in the work of Frank Baum, the author of The Wizard of Oz. Then we came up to release this track, and I think, as I say, he'd already passed away by that stage. But we decided to do a set of what we called, that game Top Trumps?
Top Trumps, no.
Okay, so in Top Trumps, it's a game kids play, and you have like tank Top Trumps, or sports car Top Trumps, and you and your pal split the cards up, and you say, okay, yeah, mine's the the T-45 tank, and I'm going for firepower 5. And you're like, well, actually, I've got the German Tiger here, and that's firepower 6, so I win that.
Right.
But we did it we called it control cards. And you might be able to find them on eBay, COLDCUT control cards, and that was based on everything's under control. So they're sort of super baddies, who's got the most evil control powers. That was quite fun, and that we did that as like a promo thing for the single. Yeah. But then
what year did the video come out for Everything Is Under Control?
2006.
Got it.
Yeah, and we toured it in 2006, and we had John Spencer and Mike Ladd and Ju Salim do that track live. Shows around the world that year.
What?
Oh. That was the hardest year we ever did, the most biggest tour we ever did. And John joined us for quite a few of the shows, and that was wicked. That was really good. So that really got the track out there.
Black helicopter, Knights of Malta, Illuminati partners, Tower topless, Vatican tax in the Texas Mafia, Pentagon pacts with Lockheed Martin.
The last key event was basically Bob died and someone proposed, it was Glenn Max at the South Bank, proposed that we do an obituary for him as a COLDCUT show at the South Bank. I dialed in Mixmaster Morris to do that with me because he was a big fan as well. And so we cobbled together a whole audiovisual show as a psychedelic obituary for Bob. And we did that at the Royal Festival Hall, and the faithful came. We had a full house. We did record it, but not the best quality, but it's listenable. And we threw in as much of Bob's. That's, I really researched him at that point and tried to find out everything he was into and what materials were out there. And we found lots of bits of spoken word, and we also used some of the samples that I'd filmed of him as well, and we threw that into the mix, and we did a psychedelic obituary for him. And I believe that people enjoyed it, and it was a good thing. So I was doing like live video mixing, Morris was mixing some music, and that was what it was like. We also, for that, invited some cool guests down. We had Bill Drummond from the Justified Ancients of Moo came down. And we had the Watchman, Alan Moore. You know him?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then who was that guy? The third guy, Campbell, Ken Campbell.
Yeah.
Ken Campbell. So 3 sort of grandmasters of the left field. joined us for that show, and it was really quite good. They were all big fans. They all totally got it. This was a chance to celebrate Bob and link it to what they were doing, because Bob's influence is widespread, even though, you know, he might not be a household name. His influence within the heads is fucking totally widespread. He went in.